Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning and welcome to this episode of Best Stock Picks for today. It is Wednesday, June 17, 2020, right in the middle of the week. Very volatile day trading session yesterday with Jerome Powell speaking. Congratulations to everybody who is in the boot camp. We actually handled it perfectly yesterday. We had a really good game plan for the exaggerated move to the upside in quite a few stocks. Booked profits on some overnights right out of the gate. Didn't get caught in that move to the downside that a lot of stocks saw after the gap opening. And then the opening price in the SPY, the SPY ETF, kind of hovering right around that price, right as Powell was speaking. And then the market just collapsed in the middle of that. And if you were smart, you were quick acting yesterday. And I've been saying it so far all week that I am in day trading mode right now. And I'll explain why again on the daily charts, just in case it's not very clear. And if you're not day trading and you're not understanding what's going on in the market right now and it's kind of not making sense, do yourself a favor. You don't have to be trading. Stop reading the news. Stop reading what Robinhood traders are doing. If it doesn't make sense, it's 100% okay for you to be in cash before you allocate money again. You need to have absolute conviction that what you're about to do is probably going to move in the direction that you want it to move. Remember, the key, one of the keys to trading is more of a mindset thing that you need to know what's probably going to happen next, meaning you have a really good idea that it's probably going to do that, right? But you need to know what you're definitely going to do no matter what. So a big thing that we're talking about constantly in the boot camp is anticipate, and be prepared. You do not want to be reacting, especially in this kind of market, because I'm going to tell you exactly what happened yesterday without even knowing you if you were day trading. While the market was sitting near the highs, when it gapped up and Powell started speaking, we actually got, boom, smacked down to the downside, right? All inexperienced traders were chasing that volume, looking to get short, looking to hit the bid in trading terminology. And then as soon as the market got back to normal and Powell stopped speaking, we just slowly crawled our way right back up to the opening price, or pretty much in the top third of the trading range. So that short never followed through. It was a news-induced momentum. Amazing if you have the skills to get in there and take care of it. If not, you want to step aside. And I'm telling you, I saw it in new traders. I got emails and messages from people saying, what did I miss? Well, what you missed was it was a news story that you have to react fast to. My point is, if you're not comfortable trading the news, which look, I admit it, part of my plan. You can watch it in a bunch of videos. I don't trade FOMC afternoons, and I don't trade options expiration. They don't make sense to me, so I just step aside. If you want to be consistent, you need to make a little list, right? Jot down on your legal pad. These are the scenarios that I just don't understand. I'm going to keep my money out of harm's way so that when it becomes obvious, I'm going to jump in and I know exactly what I'm going to do because I expect it to go higher, or if you understand short selling, you expect it to go lower. So if you got slapped around a little bit yesterday afternoon, you need to take the next step and learn what to do in those situations. And I kept writing it in the room yesterday, how excited I was that the traders that have been in there are acting professional now. Now, that doesn't mean that they quit their jobs and they're professional traders. That means that they're acting professional, meaning they're disciplined when it doesn't make sense. They're holding their winning trades when it does make sense. And then you get to the point where your biggest problem is learning how to manage the winners. I'm telling you now, if you're overwhelmed with this market or it's not making sense for you right now, it just means that you need structure. It means that you need to be able to look at the charts and go from I see setups to I understand how to build an argument. When you understand how to build an argument, which is a massive part of what I show people to do, you learn what a bad idea is. And immediately when you start to stay away from those bad ideas, your account stops going like this. You're not overwhelmed anymore. And now you're just sitting back and saying, okay, I am in a lot less bad ideas. Now it's just a question of better timing on my good ideas. And then the awesome part is holding those winning trades. So again, if you're not in the boot camp right now and you're at least curious, it's such a small investment compared to what most people probably lost 10 times, 20 times that last Thursday when the market was getting shellacked. So really, you need to make a decision. Do you want to remain overwhelmed, or do you want to take the next step and look at the market and say, I know exactly what I'm doing? I give you my exact entries and exits if you happen to be in there. So again, It's up to you. I would love to see you in there. I'd love to see you on the other side. If you're okay with watching the YouTube videos and figuring it out yourself, I really appreciate that as well. If you do love the videos, please click down and subscribe. Share the videos with your friends. That would help me a lot. It would help me share it more. You know, I actually get questions all the time about why am I teaching it? And really, I have an obligation because I know it's hard. Trading is hard, and you could feel really overwhelmed and feel like, I want to get involved. I want to make money. I know there's money to be made, but you're not doing it, which means there's something that you're missing. If you're not achieving what you want to, you have to figure out what you're missing. And maybe this is it. Maybe the YouTube videos are what it is. Maybe you want to make that investment in yourself for the next 30 days. But here's the key. If you're not getting what you want, something's missing. And only you can determine how you're going to fix that. So interestingly, that kind of ties right into what we're looking at today, which is why I discussed, I've been in day trading mode. We're going to take a look at the market. We're also going to discuss Roku right out of the gate because it got a lot of press yesterday where all the chat rooms and Twitterverse started exploding with, oh my gosh, look at this thing. And if you remember yesterday morning, I literally said Roku was interesting, but until it gets out of this window, I'm not even looking at it because right now the daily chart's a mess. And that's part of what it means to stay away from other ideas. Yesterday, it exploded yesterday, but it was a mess going into the day. That made it a day trade. 1 day's worth of buying. It's impressive, but you didn't have a lot of previous price history of saying, wow, the smart money is loading up on this stock. It was 1 day of buying, but now that it's cleared some levels, we're going to take a look and see what that means today and into the rest of the week, maybe even into next week if it follows through, because there's a certain conviction level that says, this is awesome, I can't wait to build a position and hold it, versus, okay, right now it's going up, let's trade that accordingly, which means you learn to work orders and get out into momentum versus really piling on and being a little more aggressive. And that's a big difference too. When do you get out quicker versus when do you hold and build a longer term position? And that really comes down to, can you spot the order flow? Is order flow obvious? How long has it been obvious? And where would the target be? And how would I know if it's turning around so I look to book profits? That's a big part of it too, right? How many times have you gotten into a trade and say, oh gosh, why did I get out? I turned 3,000 into 500. Why would I do that? You want to keep the 3,000. That's the whole point of trading, right? So we're going to hover over to the charts. We're going to first take a look at the market. We'll get into Roku, and then we have a few other stocks. Again, nothing on the short side today. So I called out yesterday. I basically said that we're now in a longer term potential change of trend in the market here because this trend line going back to the bottom in March was violated here. Now, again, this was a fueled selling pressure from the FOMC announcement, but that doesn't change the fact that we're in this big wide trading range now. We're kind of stuck in this window. So until the market itself gets out of this window, I'm going to mostly be in stock specific or day trading specific ideas, especially if the market happens to be on my side for those stock trading ideas, or the order flow, the intraday order flow is matching the longer term order flow. So it looks like the futures are up a little bit today. Where are we here? 16 points. So again, if you're trading futures, make sure you keep an eye on the volume in the June contract versus the September contract. You're going to be rolling it over soon. There's not going to be much volume in June. You might get stuck there. So that's what's going on in the market. Again, making it very clear, until we get out of this window, I'm not going to have conviction. The most conviction I could have is from one day to the next, where I want to see more of this kind of stuff where it's well bid for the most part and gapping higher and closing on the highs. We're not seeing that. 3 out of the last 4 days closed below the open, and we're stuck in that window. So that lowers the conviction level. Remember, the whole point is building that argument for a trade, right? So Roku obviously had this massive day yesterday where we spiked through. You could see the volume was really good. And again, this is what I was talking about. You can't look at that and say, my gosh, this is a great idea. Look at all these melted candles. One green, one red, melted candle, green, indecision, indecision. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, 5 days in a row of indecision until yesterday. So what does that mean for today? Well, it needs to stay above the breakout level, which is around 114. Obviously closed at 120. It's trading a little bit higher now. So how do you tackle this thing today? What do you do? Minimum criteria, you want it to be above yesterday's high and yesterday's close. And as long as that's okay and still valid, you continue to look for the trade. So where did it have a problem last time? Well, again, I'm very big on, I'm not drawing, and if you're new to the channel, I don't draw the trend, I don't draw resistance all the way up there. I'm looking at a chart and I'm saying, where does this stock have a problem getting through and staying there? It got here once. The rest of the time, it was here. We got up to this level, failed, 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 got through, failed, 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 failed. That's the real level. So we're really looking at 135. So the target here, the initial target, if we bounce, follow through, and stay through there above yesterday's high, 135 is the level. By the way, that's a big lesson right there. Look at the charts and say, what is the real price it's having a hard time getting through? Very big difference from drawing it all the way up there and saying that's the resistance. It's not it was there one day. Buyers couldn't hold it there. That's the point. That's exactly the point. All right, so some other trades that are looking to break through. Lilly is actually an interesting one, something I don't usually talk about. Got an FDA approval on an insulin drug. So obviously spiked through there. So again, what's the real number? It needs to stay above 160. Do you get involved in this? Well, I don't know. Can you handle an FDA announcement and that kind of volatility in a $160 stock? If you can, fine. If you think it's a little bit longer term play where it's going to explode and head to the next levels, then you got to go out a little bit longer time frames. And we are clearly punching through some levels we have never seen before. So we're also looking at all-time highs in the stock. It punched through all-time highs, needs to stay there now. So what's the level? It needs to stay above 160. I would not be buying a lower opening. I'd be looking for it to stay above yesterday's high. But here's the trick. That really wide trading range for the stock yesterday, it looks like almost $13, maybe $12. So you got to be able to handle that volatility. This might not be the right trade for you if you can't handle the stock volatile like that, especially on an earnings announcement. But if you can, should be in play today. We'll see if it follows through. Next, we have Adobe, which actually did have good earnings last week. You can see here's the earnings announcement and how the stock has reacted since then. Pulled back a little bit with the rest of the market last week, but it's kind of crawling its way back up. What I don't like in the stock, now there's two things. Obviously, I like it. It's near all-time highs, and I'm looking to be long again. What I don't like is indecision candlestick, indecision candlestick, indecision candlestick. Move up, move down, move back up. So we're starting to see a little bit of churning in the stock. So again, if you go and watch today's Stocks for Breakfast video, we discussed a little bit of watching the weekly charts. And as long as those weekly charts are still well bid, which they were here, well bid, and early in this week so far, Monday and Tuesday's buying pressure is still well bid. As long as it remains well bid and you're holding it a little bit longer time frame, you have that line in the sand to determine whether or not you want to still be long. I will say this though, buying a breakout has to stay there. It's one of the easiest trades to manage because real breakouts follow through. If it breaks out today and follows through and pulls back in, get right out. There's no reason to hold the trade that fails. You can always re-enter it. There's no reason. You don't want to be caught if it starts to pull back. Everybody who got long needs to get out of the trade now, and they start piling on, and it moves so fast. You're like, what just happened? I lost last week's profits. If it breaks out and continues and remains well bid, stay long. If it pulls back and fails, pull the plug. There's no reason to sit on a trade that's not doing what you expected it to do. Next, we have ADSK. Really nice job of breaking out there again as well. A nice well-bid candlestick. Really good breakout from this 2 days worth of consolidation. Also trading through a new breakout level. I like it long as it's above today's high. JD, new 20-day highs here as well. Next, one that I haven't watched in a while, LBGO. This actually came up in my scan as a new 20-day breakout. I don't trade this stock, but it is a stock that meets the criteria. I wanted to call it out because some of you might be interested. It's a little bit lower price in the $65 area if you can't get involved in, let's say, Lilly or one of the other ones. Peloton is interesting. It keeps flirting with all-time highs, but again, what's important here is it keeps failing. We keep getting through there, and we aren't staying there with any kind of conviction. So again, looking at the charts, what is the real price? It's having a hard time getting through. So this is the price, right? Got up there and failed, tried again, got up there and failed, tried there and failed, failed. Maybe now we're staying through. So we have 2 days worth of pressure where it's staying above that level. So Peloton, if it could stay above, what is this, 48, 49 in that area, that's where I still like to long through that level. Square, again, we're calling this one out every single day. Last 2 days have been really good, looking for some follow through here again. But again, remember, you need to understand when is a trade no longer valid for the time period that you're trading in it. Whether it's a day trade or a swing trade, you need to know that line in the sand, and that's what we call tape reading. Twilio fits the criteria as well. Not quite a breakout. It's kind of like right on that bubble, so we need to get above that. What is that? 210. 210. Let's get it above 210. So it's clearly through that level, and then you'll have a line in the sand to read the tape there as well. Zoom is one that we actually had a really good trade as a day trade yesterday. We were actually looking at it right out of the gate. We were watching this lower opening for a spot to buy, and we got involved early. Kind of gives you a little bit of a, you know, raises the hair in the back of your neck when it pulls back like this, but then up in this area here, when the market pulled back here with Jerome Powell, we actually finally exploded and took some good cash flow. Again, we're in cash flow mode the whole time right now. And anyway, one last one that meets the criteria again as well today, CrowdStrike, excuse me. This has been in the list. We actually talked about this coming into the list. We said we needed it to get above this level, and right now it's kind of hovering right here. So this might actually be a better way to draw the resistance so everybody can really see why it's struggling here. That's the level it's having a hard time getting through. Yesterday it closed above that level. It's kind of neutral right now. But if it stays above that level, really easy trade to manage. Real breakouts follow through. If that stock follows through, you're good. If it pulls back and fails where it failed the last time and is having a hard time this time, pull the plug. Real breakouts follow through. You only need one good one to follow through to make all those small losses disappear, right? So anyway, that's episode of today's Best Stock Picks. It's Wednesday, June 17, 2020. Please do me a favor, if you find these videos helpful, absolutely click down and subscribe. If you're making some money off the videos too, definitely leave a comment. I'd love to hear about your success stories because that really, it really pumps me up and really gets me motivated to just keep bringing some good content and also some good lessons. And if you want to take your stuff further and you don't feel like you're making enough money, definitely click down and learn about the boot camp. And you can also see on that page how other people are doing to give you a little bit of idea, you know, kind of proof to yourself that, well, it's one thing Pete can do. Is anybody else doing it? And you'll see some nice stories down there as well. So have a great day, everybody. I'll speak to you soon.